Good afternoon, friends. Next week we celebrate Holy Cross, which for me is pretty significant. It's the beginning of a brief season that runs from September 14th up until October 4th. During this time, we remember several significant events in the life, and especially the end of life, of Francis of Assisi. We begin with his prayers on Holy Cross Day, the revelation of Jesus' wounds in his life, his celebration of the arrival of the angels, and then finally his death and the goodbye he gives to his followers. During this time, I'd love to think about different forms of prayer, and especially the ways in which we not only pray out loud, but also pray without words. Praying without words involves paying attention, noting our breath. It may involve a simple rhythmic breathing method. Some scholars suggest that the sacred name of God found in the Hebrew Scriptures is actually meant to mimic the action of deep breath. And in so breathing, we take in what is given from God and we give it back to God. In fact, the second creation story indicates that God creates life by breathing a new breath into the earth creatures. So other forms of silent prayer include centering prayer, in which we attempt to simply let our thoughts wander away, not to indulge with any particularly engaging thought or feeling, but rather to be still, and in the stillness, perhaps let just a single word in silence anchor us in God's love. This practice can be done at any time of the day. You may want to draw your word from a passage of Scripture or from one of the Psalms, or you may also just want to have a particular word that reminds you of God's presence in your life, like peace, or love, or companion, protector, nurturer, any name that might inspire us to remember the qualities of God. And so we sit, hopefully in a comfortable spot, free of distraction, free of outside noise, and we allow ourselves to focus on that one anchor. And in so doing, simply try to notice the powerful presence of God. Silent prayer is a wonderful way for us to engage in listening. We could begin with a prompt or a query, something like, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening," or "I am ready," or even, "I am yours. What do you need me to do?" These questions are offered up not for our own thinking and for our own grinding our gears, but rather so that we might put them into space alongside with the presence of God and trust that once we have put the question forth, we can sit, we can be still, and we can expect that the Spirit will begin to agitate in our hearts, minds, and souls in a way that helps us to move forward with that question. Maybe not all the way to the answer on the first try, but to begin to move forward in such a way that new thoughts, new questions, new wondering comes to the forefront. And this allows us to be in a beautiful dialogue with God. All of these methods are a wonderful way to balance out the spoken prayers that we do, whether that's the memorized prayers that we recite, the prayers we speak out of a prayer book that we have in our collection, or perhaps part of a devotional that we read every day, or even the prayers we make up on the spot but feel compelled to speak aloud, maybe because we're gathered with others, or maybe because we find them more convincing when we say them out loud, even just to ourselves. Balancing out speaking and listening is a healthy way to engage in communicating with God, just like it's a healthy way to engage in communicating with anyone else. If we're willing to speak and we're willing to listen, we can discover the depths that that relationship holds for us. So I wish you well in your praying. Next week, we're going to talk about what makes a good prayer companion. And I hope that in the stillness you will know God is present, God is with you, and God is for you. God bless.